48 nations. Again, you have been indexed under the global reset. Because the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, all that is above it, all that is beneath it, all that is around it, and all that is within it, belongs to Father Yah, Allah. And he has sent his overseer to put everything in place to restore Yah's children. With that, I yield back to you, sir.
As I return, as I said I would, I need the United Nations to once again recognize that a lot of the nations still listen to our would-be messages, and as we begin to speak, they listen to us throughout the week. They don't take any time off. They listen to us Monday now, Wednesdays, Fridays, and Sundays. They listen to us. Due to the fact that they are understanding everything that's going on, and it's only the U.S. of A. that only listens during the times or the moments when they want to hear about money. When they don't want to hear about money, they shut their would-be so-called media. They shut them down. It's like that in America everywhere. The United States, if they might call themselves such, it's like that everywhere. People go to church in America only for the money. Yes, they do. I know I heard the little old lady in the corner say, I go to church and I've been broke all my life. That's not why you go into church, though. You're not going to church because you want to be broke all your life. You've been going there because you've been waiting for my Father to bless you with some money and with your preacher or your pastor or the minister keeps telling you that you're going to receive. That's your purpose and reason for being. Stop it. It's not up for a discussion. I'm telling you why you're there. You're there for a blessing, you would say. You're there for God to bless you with a new house. You're there for him to bless you with a new car. You've been there for him to bless you with being able to send your children to college. You've been there that he might bless you to be able to do nothing more than eat some would-be great meal from some expensive restaurant. You've been there. And all these things, again, requires finance, currency, money. I know I rest my case on you as well. I need you to sit there now and just be a participant. Stop trying to think that I'm going to give you the opportunity to come out and be our next mistress of ceremony. You don't need that. Oh, you want to be a master of ceremony? Okay. Whichever one, you're not going to get an opportunity. You're not going to hold the microphone. Just keep your seat. Stay in the corner. Remember, you've been there all your life. Don't lose your life trying to move up to the microphone now. Stay with me. Get out of the mic. The U.S. of A. I spoke to them, United Nations. Those of you that were on the call, United Nations, you got to hear what I said to them. America right now is working on a budget plan, just as Israel at the last minute has finally finished their budget plan. Only their God knows where that budget plan will lead them in their non-successful world in which they are about to embark on once again. Stay with me. Infighting and outside fighting is going to prevent that. What do you mean it's going to prevent it? That's what's going to prevent it. Stay back, relax. Now, as I was speaking, again, as I keep briefly being, I would say, interfered with, due to the fact that I want to bring this in a manner where everyone on the planet understands it. The United States of America embarking on putting their budget plan together just as Israel has claimed to do. By way of what? They said that they will get to a point that, providing that it don't go the way they want it to, they will invoke the 14th Amendment. For those of you that are in America, that is not, I would say, you're not acquainted. You have never been introduced to your Constitution based upon your 14th Amendment. You might want to go read it. Because, again, it's talking about how they will be able to get more funds or how they will be able to use this with-be power of pushing out this would-be so-called debt a little bit farther and being able to stay in what they deem to be into control of a system that is already a dead system because of its debt. They're going to be talking about invoking the 14th Amendment because the 14th Amendment gives the right to all of the shareholders to give their credit once again to the United States of America in order that they might be able to leave their so-called government in control that is now in control, if they might deem themselves to be in control. Those shareholders just so happened, I read that United Nations to the U.S. of A. last night, and I don't believe any of them truly heard me when I read it. Maybe they just thought I was talking out of turn about their 14th Amendment and what it really meant to the people. America never gets it. They don't. They have no clue what their 14th Amendment says. They don't. It's talking about the shareholders that I just spoke about, that their reserve banks now are telling them that America must do away with its debt and it must begin to start working more closer with what is known as the shareholders. And the people of the United States of America, the 328 million plus the would-be so-called 50,000 that keep running across the would-be so-called border that America has added to their would-be so-called citizens every day by way of doing away with their so-called 42 problems in which they have. They have done away with their 42 problems, and now they believe that Prop 42. They've done away with that Title 42. They've done away with that so that they can bring in more would-be so-called shareholders. These shareholders, again, I'm going to repeat who they are. These shareholders just so happen to be what America is calling citizenship to all persons born or naturalized in the United States, including those that they say are formerly enslaved people. And it provides all citizens with equal protection under the law. Which again, these are the would-be so-called many shareholders that America has. That the shareholders themselves don't recognize themselves because they haven't yet identified themselves. Neither have they been identified by the United States of America purposely by their government. Have they not yet been identified because they can keep using the word shareholders and they don't have to call names like Shelley Bowles. They don't have to call names like Kendu I.L. Henderson. They don't have to call names like Letitia Williams. They don't have to call names Yes, like Nikesha Jones. They don't have to call names. Like Paul Smith. They don't have to call names. Like Charles. They don't have to call names. And thereby, they kind of put themselves in a position whereby the shareholders are there in numbers to give them credibility based upon, come with me, 1.5, 1.8, 1.2 trillion dollars that they're going to borrow in this credit of these would-be so-called shareholders with no name. They so happen to be shareholders because they were born or naturalized in the U.S. of A. Or they just were those that were formerly enslaved people. Listen, stop it. I'm simplifying everything for you. You can remain an idiot and arrogant just like your government is, or you can get it. To understand that, yes, once you finally get a leader in the White House, one, that will be a true leader, a true president. He is going to shut down that system, as Donald J. Trump should have done, as he said he would do. That now he realized because of his threat to even make that statement, they are going to make sure that they find some reason, if it be a reason or even a reasonable doubt, that he cannot be back in the White House due to the fact that he made such a blunder of everything not to shut it down, that now they believe he will go back and correct all the mistakes that he made, and he will shut it down day one. And that, to them right now, is not just a threat, but it would be destruction. And you have to understand, again, I say, there are some things that you can threaten, doesn't really matter. But when you start talking about destruction or destroying, they will not allow it to happen. They will be unrighteous. That's what I'm talking about. Stop it. I'm giving you the days. Whenever you say damn a day, we can assure ourselves we will never know who they are. When we say damn a day, we tell you that they are the unrighteous. We even give you their names. Because they work together. They will go to that which we call the extent of destroying those members that once were members with them, that has finally sort of like, they have finally come to a point where they want to find some would-be apology from the people. They want to find some way of showing some remorse for the crimes that they would have committed against human life. And they themselves will become victims. They will either find their character being assassinated, or they will even find their bodies being given to assassination and murder. Help me out, Jeffrey Epstein. Call from the grave just for one day that you might be able to witness that what I'm saying is true. I don't care who's listening. So what? One, he says, might having to give his body to be buried. One might having to give into his body to be beaten. One might have to give into his body to be trampled by those of the iron feet of nothing more than depression, lies, and manipulation and destruction in order to be able to fix the planet. You really don't think that Jesus Christ didn't know that they were going to come looking for him, did you? He wasn't oblivious to that. He knew they would. He knew exactly the location that they were going to come looking for him in. For a matter of fact, he sent Judas to do exactly what he did because he knew that Judas would do it because Judas was just like the system of America. And he was money hungry. Those pieces of silver look like gold to him. I know. Help me out, Maxine. He has a unique way of putting things. His way to almost draw you in. You would be one that can at least understand it to the full extent of simplicity. Because he puts it in such a manner. No, what I do, Maxine, is I tell the truth. Telling the truth, you don't have to put it in no shape, form, or fashion. You don't have to put it in any category. Not the truth. You can just throw the truth out there at any time. It don't have to be in category A. It don't have to be in category B. It don't have to be in number 1. It don't have to be in the line of number 2. You just throw it out there when it's the truth. It's going to get taught. They're going to hear it. Carlisle, help me out. You brilliant philosopher that you were. They gave you credit, Carlisle. Carlisle, they gave you credit, I say. They said that you once told them that even if truth should fall from heaven and crush the earth, find itself buried beneath all of the layers of the earth, that it would rise again. Come on, Carlisle. You said that. Why? John said that's brilliant. I say it's elementary. Because what goes down must. There you go. And what goes up must. It's kind of like a balancing thing, Carlisle. They haven't figured it out yet. I figured it out even before I was dead level, perpendicular upon a square. But I've been raised since that time. And now most of them say, I'm standing on a 45-degree angle, and I tell them, no, I'm not. I'm standing on a square. That would be 2 45s at the right angle. Maybe the left angle. Who cares? It makes a box, right? Get out of the box if you can. But anyway, they would want you out of the box. Because that's where all of the squares stand, they would say. But they must understand that only jacks jump out of boxes. And when they do, it's difficult to put them back. Stay with me. Some never do. They don't have the ability to realize that you have to put him back in that reverse manner of what he popped out. Stay with me. Don't worry about it. It went over their heads as well. United Nations, the sovereignty, the breath of life, that God of the universe, Yah Allah, God, all God, has given to mankind, has made mankind all shareholders of the value of life. It has given them the ability to have value over the breath of life as shareholders. And because of that, all the people have been numbered by every leader on the planet up to this point, in order that they might be able to gain the people's trust and the people's value, whereby they can place value on the people's head and on the people's body that will be given in favor of this value that they themselves will live in luxury while the people suffer. And now they're so in fear because the people are beginning to wise up to them. A lot of them they're calling woke. Some of them they're calling them the awakened. Some of them they're calling the left behind. Some of them they're just calling them the right. Some of them they're calling them the left. Some of them they're calling them the conservatives. Some of them they're calling them the liberals. But at the same time, they're all shareholders. And those that are calling them by these names are those that can be labeled as none other than the separatists, the feminists, the fascists, the so-called Semitists. They can be classified as the separatists when you look at them from a straight point of understanding that they have separated themselves. And thereby they share with no one. They're not shareholders. No, I don't have to call their names. They're your Fortune 500 of your so-called rich and famous. I've already told them, you have to remember they only said 500. You're not 500 million people. You're not 500,000 people. No, you're only about 500 people, period. And you must understand that the world has been now numbered to the point of 8.5 billion. That's 8.5 billion, that you cannot divide 8.5 billion into 500. Neither can you take 500 and divide it into 8.5 billion and come up with a great number that will benefit you rather than to put you in a position where you are going to be eliminated. Because even when dividing 500 into 8.5 billion people, there's still a number that will be on top that will destroy the 500. No, I'm not making any threats. I'm giving you the reality of the fact that remains. That these so-called billion separatists, billionaire separatists, separate but not equal, separate but equal, the separatists that do not claim any part of the shareholders. And being that I must commend the Federal Reserve, whether it be in Dallas, Missouri, whether it be in what might be classified to be Mississippi or Alabama or Georgia, it doesn't matter. They must be committed to recognize the shareholders in a manner to let America know that your debt and what you're going to claim that you raised it, that was not an agreement by any of the shareholders. None. Because by right, you're saying that you have at least 328 million shareholders. I can assure you right now that the numbers in America show that more than 300 million of those shareholders are now suffering from debt. They're not only suffering from debt, but they're suffering from a lack of. They're suffering from a lack of medication to just even be able to survive a regular day of headaches, pains, common colds. And things begin to get rough when they start dealing with things like malaria, flu, COVID. When they start dealing with those things, it kind of puts them in a position where they realize that they're not financially stable enough to be able to take care of it, whatever it is that they need. And at the same time, they begin to realize that they are shareholders with a bunch of separatists, with a bunch of separate but equal people of thought and mind of a belief that there will never be, never can there be separate but equal. In America, once upon a time, said this was the law, separate but equal. And that law, they said, they kind of excluded it or they did away with it, they terminated it. They said they did that in the late 60s, around 63, 64, 65. They said, by that time, they said all of this separate but equal would be destroyed. They signed a bill in 63 saying that this law would be behind them, this separate but equal. But that separate is still there because there are those that are claiming in America to be billionaires and millionaires while the shareholders are still starving. America, it's obvious that your government was not set up for intelligent beings because you got a lot of so-called representatives from every state that you have employed. And they still haven't told the people this one common truth of simplistic, elementary, and kindergarten level of understanding, that the shareholders are the 328 so-called American citizens, and the separatists has not yet included them in no decisions that have been made by the government of separatists, but equal. I got work to do with the United Nations, because I'm not just speaking to America right now, no. That just happened also in Israel. They're claiming that they have citizens in Israel. They do. They haven't told the people who those shareholders are, because it's the people. Remember, if you might even want to follow and take a page out of the American Constitution, one page, but it's not just one page. You must understand that I have said this many times before. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men were created equal, and that they were endowed by the creator of the universe of these and are unalienable rights, and among those rights were life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It goes on to say that, and at any given time, these rights become threatened by any means. It becomes the right of those men and women, those people, to either alter the problem or abolish the problem. The United Nations, the United States, all the governing bodies that are around on the planet now, you must understand that not only is those rights of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness and then a threat of being destroyed in the United States of America, because it's called sovereignty. And it is threatened all over the planet. It's being threatened on every universe right now. Notice I said threatened because it cannot be destroyed. It will not be destroyed. And we, mankind, will survive because we will put an end to war before war put an end to mankind. And those that are behind the wars, those initiating the wars, we will destroy them off the planet. And no, we will not be knocking on doors like Russia. We will not just be knocking on doors like China, because they do not bring on a fight by initiating anything when they would be fighting themselves. But they only find themselves at war with other nations, because those nations too or initiating the fight. And once one steps onto the battlefield and he never received an opponent, he will remain there obscured, wondering what's going on. But when another steps on that field to engage in something that we know to be nothing more than two engaging in war, based upon both of them becoming those that will do nothing more than find themselves fighting against each other as an opponent. And that is a competition that must be eliminated off this planet. United Nations, I am at work. I looked outside my window. It is now day. Yes, I know I had a real early day, but I had a late night, which the twinkling of the twilight still calls me to work, because twilights are like nothing more than little small flames of fire. And I constantly work because it is always light, and man must work while it's still light, so that gives him a little bit more light of time that he may call day, or he finds himself working in order to save mankind. My days are becoming longer than my nights, but I'm okay with that. I welcome them with an open arm, but I also invite them with a strong hand. I gotta go to work. It's now day. Man must work while it's still day again, I say, so when night comes, no man can work. You, United Nations, you worked hard. Yes, and there has been a lot of movement in the past few hours of what you had of a light day. But all is not complete. Nothing has changed and nothing is finished. So we must all keep working until that moment. You get your rest, you've earned it, though. Yes, I've told you in the past, not only have you earned it, but you're worthy of it. We will see you again in your AM. But remember, it will be my PM that I will be talking and smiling with you. So don't take it as a disrespect if I should nod out every now and then. I'm listening to you. I hear you. And because of that, it will even be in my conscience as well as my self-conscious. And when I awaken, I am going to go fully to work in your behalf. Get your rest. I got you right now. Peace and love. Nightfall.
Thank you, Joshua. And thank you, family, for joining us. Again, we will be with you on Wednesday morning at the same time. In the meantime, if darkness is falling in your area, go ahead and build up your strength, get your rest. You've still got a lot of work ahead of you. Of course, we're still working. It's light in our area, and we have a lot of work ahead of us as well on your behalf. We do love you, family. And we leave you with John 17:14-17. I, Joshua, have given them your word, Father Yah, and the world has hated them, because they are not of the world, just as I am not of the world. I do not pray that you should take them out of the world, but that you should keep them from the evil one. They are not of the world, just as I am not of the world. Sanctify them by your truth, Father Yah.